About time we talk about Ghost of Tsushima.
TGR.
Welcome to the first 10 of Ghost of Tsushima. If this is your first time listening or watching one of our first 10 impressions, essentially what we do is we try to go ahead and play the game for at least 10 hours before we actually give off our first impressions within those 10 hours. Just a heads up, there probably is a little bit of a spoiler in regards to the story, but this story is actually really good in regards to Ghost of Tsushima, so I'm only going to stick to the beginning of the game, and I'm not going to go too deep into it, just to save the people that haven't played the game yet. I also do want to go ahead and say that this is a very unscripted first 10 impression. I kind of decided to go ahead and add a bunch of bullet points and gather my thoughts around said bullet points. So take that as you will as we go ahead and go forward. So we do go ahead and divide everything into sections. So we talk about gameplay, audio, visuals, and story. And let's just start it off with gameplay. So gameplay essentially is divided into two said categories, and that is exploration and then combat or stealth, whatever it may be, whatever choice you decide to take. I, for one, want to go ahead and start off with exploration. The exploration in this game is both a blessing and a curse. You can easily go around and get distracted by birds, foxes, rumors, mythical quests, whatever it may be, that take you away from the main mission. Now, you can obviously fast travel, and which is very fast, mind you, especially for a hard drive disk. It's not an SSD by any means, but I digress. It is very easy to get distracted in this game, and if you've watched any of my streams on Twitch, you know how fast I get distracted by foxes and birds and whatnot. Now, that's not to say that it's a bad thing. It's just it seems as if everything is very well spaced in this open world game, and that's a good thing. It should be that way. It should be very well spaced out in regards to the side quests and sub objectives even beyond that. Now, in regards to the combat / stealth, I will be 100% honest with you. I felt after this 15 or 17 or so minute presentation that happened before release, I felt after watching the standoff and the different options that you had as a ghost, I felt as if it was a little lackluster. It felt like it was almost a little boring, and I was worried. I honestly thought that, man, like, you know, it almost felt too easy, and that's not, you know, at its fault, because Onyx and I, we both talked about it, and we were both hesitant going forward with the game simply because of the fact that it didn't seem like it was challenging enough. And man, am I wrong. If you've been watching any of my streams on Twitch, you have seen me die multiple times, and you've seen me pretty much have issues in regards to difficult tasks when it comes to combat. Now, I do want to go ahead and say that there is camera issues. One of the things that I've noticed is that when you have multiple enemies or you're put into a corner, the camera just, you have full control over it, but there is no lock-on mechanism. And it makes sense. Now, in defense of Sucker Punch, it does make sense with the way that they've treated combat, because you, as Jin, you have to deal with multiple opponents at the same time, and therefore you can choose any way that you want to go. If you go ahead and lock on to one opponent, it would almost be very easy to go ahead and just kind of focus on that one opponent and call it a day. But in defense of that, I will say that it is very fun juggling multiple enemies at the same time. It's very easy to mess up, and it's very easy to die because of it. Now, when you do get cornered, whether you're trying to take over any sort of Mongol territory or you're fighting inside of a building or whatever it may be, it's very easy for that camera to get stuck in a corner and obscure your view. It is also very easy for that camera to get stuck behind a tree when you're out in the open and in the wild. And that kind of just goes ahead and first off, breaks your immersion. It also goes ahead and kind of takes you a little bit out of the combat and just makes you focus and change the camera. It doesn't work well in that sense. Now, I haven't had that happen too many times where I'm just like, oh, like the camera, but it has happened more than once, and that's why I did want to go ahead and mention it. Now, the stealth, it's it's iffy, guys. It feels sometimes the stealth is amazing, and you can go in and you can do all sorts of cool stuff. And with stealth, there's also this terror mechanic that's in place where you can actually scare your enemies and freak them out. I do know that I haven't done it myself personally, but I have seen on Twitter where people have gone ahead and actually created terror builds with specific armor and specific attire and specific charms to just scare the crap out of your enemies. And I think that that's really cool. Now, aside from that, the mechanics in regards to stealth, they aren't that deep. As far as I can tell. I mean, I haven't played a fully stealth game in a long time, and people on Discord, they I mean, if you guys are watching this, you know I want a new Splinter Cell and whatnot, but that's besides the fact. I definitely think that this is something that is, I don't know, like there was just more things that you could do to flesh out. And I know that Onyx, and whenever we talk about stealth games, we automatically talk about Metal Gear Solid 5. And that was one thing that I saw that I was kind of like, this is no Metal Gear Solid 5. You have multiple options to take things, but you just, once it's there, and there isn't any way to actually manage certain situations. And by certain situations, I mean missions where if you get caught, like boom, that's it, that you're done. I don't like missions like that where you're forced to be stealth just to be stealthy. I would rather have options to handle things. So MGS, this is not. Now, let's move on to audio. If there is one thing that I can say is that immediately when I started playing the game, the audio fit. There's the audio in this game, like the music is just beautiful. The OST is top tier, guys. I don't think I've ever played a game like this in a long time. For example, you can go to a spot. A bird will lead you to a spot where you can sit down and have a haiku. You create a haiku, and once Jin goes ahead and reads said haiku, the music is just mystifying. It's magical. It's otherworldly, if there's any other way to say it. And I love it. The music, it hits and evokes specific emotions when you want it, when it wants to evoke said emotions. It's beautifully well done. When it's action, it's action. When it's meant to be sentimental, it's meant to be sentimental, and it's beautiful. Now, aside from that, the audio design and the environment that you're around is amazing as well. That's one thing that I would have to say is beautifully done. The foxes howling and making noises, the birds chirping as you're going, the wind, which plays such an important role in the game. I mean, it's very, very, very well done. The clanking of the swords as you're fighting, the shields as you're fighting, explosions, the rattling of fireworks as you're doing things, flashbangs, smoke bombs, like everything just flows beautifully and has oomph to it. There's very, very, very small moments where actually I can't even think of any moments where I'm just like, oh, like this was bad. Like in the first mission, there's this moment where you're fighting with your uncle and the sound just slowly drowns out, which I've never been in war. I don't know what it's like. So, but my assumption is that you eventually experience something like that, where it's almost like an out of body experience where you kind of just, you lose all sense and you're just doing what you're doing. So it's very, very well portrayed, and the audio just elevates that even further. Now let's talk about visuals, guys. This game, for as quick as it loads on a hard drive disk that came out forever ago, and for the size of it, it loads so fast and it looks so amazing. It's kind of crazy. The sunsets are beautiful. The storms are amazing. The duels, like the one-on-one duels where you're fighting somebody, like it's so beautifully done. The visuals in this game are top tier. Now, I will be 100% honest with you. They're not as beautiful as Naughty Dog's The Last of Us Part 2, but I think that's because of the way that the resources were handled. And I say that because The Last of Us Part 2 and pretty much every other Naughty Dog game that's come out as of late is a linear experience. So Naughty Dog can essentially control all of the resources within said area before the next area loads up. Whereas Ghost of Tsushima, you have this huge, vast area and different things load up. I have not experienced poppin' in this game, guys, whereas I experienced poppin' in The Last of Us Part 2. So again, this game is extremely polished. It looks very, very beautiful, and just the wind and the way that it carries all of the flora, leaves, just everything is just so well done. The different aesthetic choices that you have in regards to attire, in regards to dyes, in regards to your katana, in regards to your short bow, or your half bow and your long bow, like all of that, it just the aesthetic choices that are there, all of that is well polished and well done. And if you try to fast travel within a certain radius, like it takes seconds, guys, seconds on a hard drive. I don't know what kind of weird magic Sucker Punch did in order to make this work, but technically this is a marvel in regards to visual balance of visual appeal and speed and resource management. I gotta throw that out there. That it's magical, guys. It's magical. So now let's go ahead and talk about the big kahuna. Let's go ahead and talk about the story. So in Ghost of Tsushima, you play as Jin Sakai. Without going too deep into it, both your parents pass away, and your dad passes away defending your house from a bandit, presumably, and this is at a very young age. So when you go ahead and go to your funeral, Lord Shimura, which is your uncle, he goes ahead and says, I would take you as my ward. So he kind of becomes this father figure for Jin Sakai. And Jin is the last of his bloodline, so he's the clan leader in regards to that. But Lord Shimura, he goes ahead and takes him in, teaches him how to fight, and like I said, becomes a father figure. And then from there, he essentially raises him and teaches him everything in regards to the samurai code, and how to live by that code, and how to live with honor, which is something that is very paramount within the foundation of Jin's character. Now, as Jin, you in the beginning of the game, Jin, Lord Shimura, and the rest of the samurai in the Tsushima Island, they go ahead and they go into war, or at least a battle, with the Mongols. Now, the Mongols, they are led by Khotun Khan, and he essentially fights dirty. The samurai, they send a messenger, and they're like, hey, let me have your strongest fighter, and the Khan, they're essentially like, hey, screw you. They throw wine or whatever liquid that was, and they light him up on fire. So they start fighting and everything like that. All of the samurai who fight nobly and honorably perish. The only two that are left are literally Jin and Lord Shimura. So they're out, they start fighting, and Lord Shimura and Jin, they're traveling, and they run into Khotun Khan, and he's over there, and they're like, let's go get him. And Jin's like, I'm ready, let's go. And they start riding, and then all of a sudden a firework comes in, explodes, and there's an explosion. Jin gets knocked off his horse, and Lord Shimura keeps on going. So Lord Shimura loses to the Khan, and after that, Jin realizes what's going on, slowly gets up, has an arrow in his back, gets shot again. I believe it's 2 arrows, and then he passes out. He is then saved by a thief named Yuna. Yuna goes ahead and nurses his wounds, brings him back, and so on and so forth, and helps Jin get his the Sakai weapon, which is the katana of the family. When he realizes that Yuna is a thief, he kind of has a little bit of hesitancy, and he kind of realizes that, like, I don't really like this. I fight with honor. not like this in the shadows. So as the game progresses, there's almost like a little bit of conflict in regards to what Jin is willing to do in order to save his home from the Mongols. And I'm still in Act 1, guys. I haven't gotten to Act 2 or Act 3. But I can say that as Jin progresses, he's seeking allies to help him to go to Lord Shimura and Khotun Khan over at the at Castle Canada to save his uncle. That's really what they want to go ahead and do. So he's going around talking to people and trying to get whatever in order to help take back Tsushima Island. So that's as far as I've gotten. And I will say that right now the story is awesome. I love it. I love the banter that's in between the characters as things are going. Ishiwara is like one of my favorite characters so far. He's pretty cool, very sarcastic and like on the nose, but so is Jin. I actually really appreciate the writing in this game. The writing is very, very well done so far. I'd like to see where the characters go in regards to character development and seeing what Jin is willing to do in order to pretty much save Tsushima. So those are my thoughts. I will say that I would highly recommend this game. Normally, like by the end of the first time, we say, we would recommend or not recommend or wait for a sale. I would recommend this game. If you have a PlayStation 4 and you're considering getting this, just get it. It's worth it. Obviously, if you want to wait for a sale, you can. Without a doubt, this is a game that I could see myself spending a lot of time in. Even after I beat the campaign, I could just... The birds, the foxes, there's just so much to do in this world. And it's very well done. It's not, other franchises that are out there where it's literally you go climb up a tower, area of the map opens up, and you have locations to check out, and that's it. So it's very well done. Highly recommend it. If you're considering it, it's definitely worth a go. So guys, thank you so much for taking your time to watch this video. If you want to go ahead and talk to us directly, you could always add us over at Twitter. You can also follow us on Instagram, Facebook, all that other stuff. But we are on Twitch. That's where I've been streaming the majority of this stuff. And if you want to go ahead and support us directly, there's a join button down below where you can become a member, or you can go over to Patreon and become a patron over there. There's an exclusive Discord channel where you can talk to us directly. And yeah, until next time, guys, we will see you on the flip side. Deuces.
Hope you enjoyed the video. If you want to see more and stay up to date, subscribe, hit the little bell, and join our Discord.
If you want to support the channel, please check out our Patreon or hit the join button below. As always, thanks for your support and thanks for watching.